The joys of live. Okay, so we got to hide Jade. There we go. Hey, Jade. Excellent. So just before this, my camera crapped out. So as Jade's going to be talking here today, I'm going to figure out my camera. But in the meantime, just look at that little blipping mark here. We've had now what 5, 6 of these, and they've gone pretty flawlessly. And now all of a sudden, it's because Jade, you can carry the show, right? I mean, that's just what this is all about.
Let's just focus right here.
This will be yeah. Oh, here, here. You know how we can do that? We can just go like that. Totally focus. Oops, let's do not that. There we go. Now we're going to focus that. Perfect. Anyway, so Jade, let's just dive right into it. Why do we need a community? Like what? So we've talked about this, and when we put together Heroes, it was all about, what are the key elements and community? Like, why do we need that? So let's just dive into it.
Yeah, it's I want to take it even one step back further. It's not like, why do you need it? Which that will kind of tie into everything. But one thing that is just hugely wrong with the way businesses are implementing communities right now is that it's kind of a fad. Like, and when there's a fad, like TikTok or, the cool new tool or app, or if anyone remembers, what was that? Like audio only Clubhouse. That was like really huge for like 2 seconds and disappeared. But so the way with like fads and trends go is like everyone starts doing it. And inevitably, a lot of them are not going to do it well because they're just kind of like jumping on the bandwagon and not necessarily doing it thoughtfully. So community is very, very trendy right now, and rightfully so. It's an extremely effective way of building real, like, emotional connections with your people.
And what do you mean when you say community, though? What exactly are you talking about?
Well, that's another really good question, because it's one of those things where, like, community in general, right? It's very trendy. Everyone's trying to do it, and it's like if you're going to do it, which I always recommend because it's such a beautiful way to develop relationships. But if you're going to do it, there's a lot of decisions to be made to do it well, to do it thoughtfully, strategically, intentionally. And what kind of community, as you asked, where is it going to be? And most importantly, do you even need one? And if you do want or need one, is it going to be free or paid? Is it going to be like something people need to buy tickets to, like a tasting club, for example? Or is it like your free, like opt into your VIP text offer for like your retail side where people, they get, a promo code or like the deal of the week texted to them. So they're more likely to see it and come and engage. So that's just a lot of examples I threw at you. But I think like the topic, like I said, there's a lot of decisions and strategy involved in community. And
okay, so let me just let me cut in here for just a quick second then. Mm-hmm. And when we talk community, specifically, what type of communities do we have within the wine industry, right? So we've got our clubs, right? So we've got our wine clubs. Right. That is a community of people that have subscribed for our monthly or quarterly or biannually clubs. We've got communities, if they're local, we can do pickup parties and things like that. So we've got those kind of ideas. Mm-hmm. But, and then we've got Facebook groups, maybe. I mean, that could be, are we utilizing Facebook groups to engage our audience? And so, like, how do we decide if a community is good, but how do we kind of define where does that community live?
Right. Oh, that's such a good question. A lot of it has to do with, the individual business, obviously. If you have like one thing that became very clear as I've gotten to know this industry is that some of them are very local based. They know each other. They're established in the community, but some wineries are in very touristy places where people will come and vacation to, and they don't necessarily have a bigger hold on the locale. So there's definitely different kinds. But even so, online and like Facebook or LinkedIn groups are something that are accessible to everyone, and it's a really great way to spark conversations and help build the connections between the customers and prospects themselves versus just with you. And that's a really important distinction. So, as part of this whole heroes group, you're going to hear a lot about like marketing strategy and email and content. Well, content is important, but if you're going to post something with the sole objective of you sharing a message and hoping that people comment on it, that's not necessarily community strategy. That's one way communication, you between them, and if they comment, them between you. Where you want to consider implementing or involving a community in your business, no matter where the medium, whether it's online or in person or anywhere, is it opportunistic to have them connect with each other and you just be the facilitator? You're just the container for people to meet and connect. Because long story short, and we talked about this when we had like our big panel recently, people are long-term invested to businesses, products, services, die hard loyal if they have an emotional connection.
So for the people that missed that, I just want to interject there. So when I've talked to people about community and allowing their customers to talk to each other, they're freaking out. Like, okay, I don't want my customers talking. I don't want them saying, hey, go to this, other winery, that wine sucks or whatever. Like that's scary for lots of people.
Yeah. So I would counter that argument, which is totally fair, by the way. But here's the rebuttal. How do most businesses expect their new business to come in? The answer is referrals, right? Because marketing strategies and different things will come and go, but referrals at the end of the day are important. And what is a referral? It's a conversation about your business, your product, from a customer to a potential customer, to a prospect, someone that you want to do business with you. So that is exactly the kinds of conversations that we want to be sparking. And the point is that we're doing it on purpose with an objective, and there's emotional connections happening. There are businesses that I frequently patronize that I didn't know about until someone else told me. But once I went there, I was treated like family. When I mentioned earlier, like people will go to businesses no matter what, if they have an emotional and habitual connection with it. So here's a really great example of that. There is a local nail salon, right? And in any city, there's probably like 500 nail salons, right? And but there was one where I took my daughter to, and they have this like princess pedicure thing. And they made a big deal of it. They like put a crown on her, and there was like this amazing experience for her, and it made me happy to see them. And so like that is like an emotional connection to that business. And I will never go anywhere else. I don't care if they triple their prices. I don't care if, they renovate and things look different. I don't care. I will always go there because of how they made me feel.
And so when you talk community, that I think the key distinction there becomes the feeling component, the connection component, and then that really dive into that emotional connection. So within the wine industry, I mean, emotional connections are going to be around events. So let's say you could have a community around brides that have, couples now that have married, and, create events and intentional activities that stimulate conversations around brides to be and around brides that they're a year on, 5 years on, that kind of conversation. So within community, then Jade, what could we look to do? So again, we're in January time of recording when we talk about this, and so what is our primary focus in terms of our objective looking for 2023? And how do we kind of set intention around community? Or what are the first things I need to figure out? Do I put up a Facebook group? What do I do? Like, how do I get started?
Yeah. And that's exactly why I started this conversation saying, don't do it unless you're going to do it thoughtfully and do it well. Because I personally have been on the receiving end of people like, okay, and join this free Facebook group so you can get blah. And then it's either crickets because they didn't think through like the content and the objective of the group, or suddenly I was just full blown marketed to on things I didn't even know existed and it wasn't super appropriate. So, what I would urge you to think about is apply the concept of community. And now that we all understand, like, oh, the point is for emotional connections, for long-term patronage and loyalty, but also it becomes a natural like promotional factor. You have raving fans that naturally want to continue to tell people about you, right? So what is it about your winery that's unique that you can create? Think about like a cheesy Hallmark commercial. What is like the emotional response people can get from your business uniquely? Is it your event space? Do you have like events at your winery where you can create emotional connections from the memories and the togetherness that brought? Do you have like elite, products where people can really bond over the connection of their shared interest of wine and like sommelier type experiences? Do you have just roots in your community? Do you have like the type of like corner store where everyone goes to? And you can build relationships based on that. The fact that you're there for everyone all year long. So it's unique to you. So put like the hallmark, the cheesiness of like emotional connection, and apply that lens to your business. And that will help you decide what kind of community you want. Where is it appropriate to host it? If it's something where people can chat, in a Facebook group, or if people can come in and gather and mingle personally over their shared interests. But the source of the connection is going to help you dictate that. So I highly
So
recommend community for any business, but don't just do it because it's a fad. Do it for a reason.
one of the, I look at my father-in-law and his big thing, and I think I mentioned this story in
Yeah.
our roundtable.
Perfect.
The story about where these guys, they all get together and they go down to the same golf course every year, have been for years and years, and so that's their guys getaway thing. And so there is a community of 8 guys that's surrounded by this. But what can the golf course do to create and expand upon that? So if you are a destination, part of that destination program, what can you do to extend community past their experience at your winery, right? So are they part of a tour group? And now they go back, and so let's say you're in Napa and your clients are in let's say New York, Boston, East Coast somewhere. How can you create that same kind of community? Could you create a meetup and a community of people in the East Coast that all get together and that get together in a meeting room or something like that? They all buy some wine, and then you get your sommelier on a video like this and walk through the experience and have a shared experience that way. All of that kind of stuff, right? The other thing, and I know, Jade, you've shared this concept before in some of our talkings, is eliciting some of that feedback of what do they like? What do they like about your place? So you don't have to be the expert. Draw from your existing customers. What did you really like about this? Would you be interested in being part of a community? Would you be interested in joining our group where we talk about this and share ideas, right? Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah. So what's funny is what people might be emotionally connected to, whether it's with their little group and they want to keep returning, for a touristy experience and keep going year after year, or if it's a local, everyone goes every Friday. Whatever it is, it's very likely that that connection point is not something that you assume or you might even know about, right? Because you may have that corner store that everyone goes and picks up a bottle for the weekend every Friday, but you think that you're well known for because we carry, this product line and our, we do this and we do that and our logo is cute. And you think that's why people come. But if you actually make a point to talk to people and you obviously want to establish an emotional connection with them as well, you're going to get feedback that you probably didn't expect. You might get feedback like, I come to your store every week because you've had the same, Friday afternoon, cashier that asks me how my kids are doing. And I know this person and I love this person. And so it might be a good idea to elevate that community, that person who you thought was someone who clocks in and out and isn't really super relevant. Well, they're the one that's forging the relationship. So ask them what was amazing about their experience. Surveys are so easy to create and distribute these days. Hey, I can see you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Surveys are really easy to access. You can even send someone a Google form. It's free, right? There's
Right.
so many things you can do to elicit that feedback. Or have you ever noticed that this is becoming so commonplace? It's on like the smoothie blender machine at my gas station, where it's like, post a picture of you and your shake on Instagram with hashtag whatever. And soon you're going to see trends of like, okay, people these age like to post these kinds of pictures with this kind of
Yeah.
product. And it's going to, their experiences are going to dictate to you what they like most about you, and you can lean into that and find if customer A likes this about you and customer B likes this about you, that means customer A and B have something in common, and that's
Totally.
where the magic happens.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about being intentional. And this is kind of where heroes, a lot of the processes overlap. Yeah. And so social media, and I'm as guilty when Jade and I started talking about this was, hey, okay, so we're talking about Facebook groups and social media. And she's like, yeah, no, this is not about social media. But when the club and the group and the community is identified and your strategy is formed, then you can execute on multiple platforms to tie them in together. So let's wrap up the public section of this. So we're going to say goodbye to our friends. But before we do, if you're enjoying the content, from the other programs as well as Jade, and I just realized I've got a bottle and horns. That's kind of weird above my head. Anyway, I actually made that. That's how I got it. It's a wine barrel stave candle holder right there. Anyway, so, but seriously, if you're enjoying this and you're finding value in what we're doing here, then please, consider becoming a member. Consider liking, subscribing, joining, doing all that social stuff that you do, depending on if you're on YouTube or Facebook, or just our channel, or in our group, Wine Marketing Made Simple. So whatever that platform you're on, just hit us up. And if you got any questions about what we're talking about, then the whole purpose behind what we're doing here is to provide you information. I say often is that, hopefully before this session, you didn't know what we're talking about. Now you at least know what we're talking about, and you can begin the discussion. And so the action step that, for those of you who are on the public side of this, for the action step for this month, Jade, I'll turn to you. What is the one thing that you would recommend everyone do this month?
Yeah. Ask them. Ask them what they love about you, not what product they like or what their favorite sale was. Ask them for memorable moments and why they feel connected to you, and find
Perfect.
the common
And listen.
And listen.
Yeah, ask and listen. Yeah. Yeah. And so you as the marketer, right? This is something that you're going to do. You're going to talk to some of your team. Don't roll this out to everyone. Grab 2 or 3 people that are on the floor in the tasting room that have been there for a long time, that are comfortable having these kind of conversations with individuals, and then just report back to them and find out what's going on. And then in say 2-3 weeks, go back to leadership and say, hey, so I did this and this is the result. And here's the thing. It's initiative. It's in a new area. You're going to find that these people, when they share this information with you, you're going to give leadership a whole new insight into their business, especially if it's a multi-generational side of it and they're kind of stuck in one mentality. You can bring a fresh experience to that. So the action is ask and listen, take notes, and then kind of summarize back. If you have done that and you're generating some really interesting results, then comment below, share them with us. Let us know what's going on, right? Because then we can help you take that information to the next step. Okay, so until next month, the next time we'll see us is specifically with Jade and me. We'll be in the community roundtable, which is the first Tuesday of the month. Or you'll see me tomorrow with Sharon and Google and a bunch of other stuff. So until then, go back and watch the other videos if this is the first time you're catching us, and we will see you next month. So for you people that are members, thank you. Hold on. We're just going to say goodbye to our public friends. And so I'm just going to do this. Look at that cool logo. Awesome. And then I'm going to get rid of, no, not get rid of.